Ahoy! Okay, so Maarten, thank you for responding to the invitation for the podcast.
Of course.
And can you start with presenting yourself shortly?
My name is Maarten van der Beek. I'm a biologist, married, two baby boys. I'm from the Netherlands, where I lived most of my life, and the last 8 years I've been living here in Costa Rica.
Cool. What brought you here to Costa Rica?
A vacation to start
Okay.
with. Like 22 years ago,
Okay.
together with two friends of mine, good friends. We spent 3 weeks here, had a really nice time. And then such a nice time that the next year we came back here, and then we came back a bunch of times more until we started dreaming about living here, doing something here ourselves, and that resulted in me coming here with my family 8 years ago.
Okay. And you have now an organization, Work with Nature. How did that happen?
One of the two friends that came with me the first time was Matthias, my best friend. And he was studying at the time, just like me. He was studying to become a tropical forest engineer. I did biology, and I think after spending 2 vacations here doing a lot of volunteering and seeing different projects where nature conservation and some involvement of local communities and then some foreigners coming to visit those projects, like that combination really stuck to us. We felt like it was meaningful for a lot of different groups of people and nature. Then we started to dream about maybe doing something similar. So in 2009 we bought a small property close to here. And then when we came back in 2010 we started a foundation in the Netherlands, and the idea was pretty simple. What we had seen, for example, with sea turtles, where poachers take the eggs from sea turtles and sometimes also the turtles themselves. Now there's a couple of projects, or back then there were a couple of projects, and they offered good job to the poachers to become a guide.
Okay.
So they would have an income all year long. The turtles are only there 6 months a year, but they were offered a year-long salary to become guides, and then volunteers, so foreigners, could come and help the guides to protect the turtles that they were once poaching. And obviously that then helps the turtles a whole lot. So our idea was maybe we could do the same thing here, but then with people logging. So maybe you can offer jobs to people so that instead of cutting down forests, they could benefit from leaving the forests the way they are. So the idea was, well, we just have to have some forest, get sort of a house going, so that we can receive people that are just as crazy as us and want to stay in a shitty house in the middle of the forest. And then we're off, and we go there. Back then we didn't have like serious relationships, no kids, no mortgages on houses. And that's how it sort of got started. And so we started the foundation, and then we thought if we have 20,000 euros, then we're off and we build a little house. And yeah, and then we'll see from there.
Yeah. Okay. And if I understand correctly, you participated here in Costa Rica in other projects.
Yes.
Where you found like the ideas for yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And you started with 20,000 euros, just went and built something?
No, that was the idea.
Okay.
So,
What was different from the original idea?
so in the end, of course, a lot of things changed because biologist and a forest engineer are not the perfect people to make business plans and sell their story to companies and build websites and start foundations, and you know, so we had to learn everything, and it was just the two of us, so we had no help and we had no money. We could not hire anyone to do what we needed done, so we started to mess around doing that ourselves. And yeah, and then this could become a very long story,
Okay,
of course.
yeah.
But in the end, we found people little by little that were willing to help us out. So people that know the business side of things, or people that understand laws and taxes, and people that know about IT, how to be found in search engines, how to offer your idea in a way that it is attractive to someone who is maybe willing to give you 10 euros, right? So the foundation in the Netherlands started to grow, and we started to get some income, but it was not like buckets full of money. It was little by little, and then in the meantime, we did get into serious relationships, and after a while I got a kid, and then when I told Matthias about my second kid, was the same night he was about to tell me that he was gonna be a daddy. And then of course things became more difficult, because now we could not just go to the jungle and sleep in a tent and survive on bags of rice, so then the plan for coming here had to be more elaborate as well, and then so things were getting more complicated, and the dream we once had of just going here as two guys staying in the forest could not exist anymore. And we could still come, but we would have to plan ahead more and do things better, which in the end is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
So I could do a PhD at some point, and then I told the people, like, sorry, but I can stay here for 4 or 5 years. In a year or two I'm gonna be in Costa Rica, right? It ended up being something like 8 years. I could have easily finished the PhD, and so yeah, but that was our way of thinking at the beginning. And in the end, when me and the family went here, there was a nice steady foundation working in the Netherlands, and we could step out of that foundation and things would just continue to progress, making what we do here a lot more successful than if we would have just left after 2 years, right, with one tiny bag of money, because there would have been no one in the Netherlands to take over, and then we would just have this little bit of capital, and then once we ran out, then that was it, right? So in the end it was a good thing that it developed the way it developed, but it was not what we were anticipating when we started at all.
Yeah, well, otherwise you would be a fortune teller if you could participate that far ahead.
Yeah.
So you had a dream, you started doing it, but you all the time you were dreaming about that, you were still in Netherlands.
Yeah.
But you were just coming here to visit and buying land, or?
Yeah, so first we went here like 3 times on vacation, 2 maybe, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And then Matthias did an internship here, so that was, you know, for his studies, and I came and visited him. And then he did a second internship, and I came and visited him again. Then he found a job here in a teak plantation. I came to spend 4 months here. I was already together with Hanneke for quite a while, so it was pretty hard leaving her for 4 months. And that was when we really said, okay, now we're gonna set this thing up. We're gonna create a good plan, good idea. Then we were determined to build something here. After that, there was a lot of work in the Netherlands, and I was not here for several years. I was working, and we knew then, okay, so now we need money if we want this to work. And so yeah, then I was just in the Netherlands working. I always looked for jobs because I did several where I would work like 3 or 4 days a week and then have at least 1 full day a week. We called it Foundation Day. Matthias did the same thing, and then 2 other people that joined quickly. Foundation Day, we got together, make plans, and then divide the workload, and then go work that day. And then the other days in the week, sometimes at night, you know, or in the weekend, we would put in the hours to get stuff going. So in 2015, so that we already had 3.5 hectares that we bought ourselves in 2009. So that was already there for 6 years. Then we got a big donation, and then we could buy another 30 hectares or something, 32.
Nice.
But we were still in the Netherlands. And then it took us another 2 years before we felt comfortable enough coming here and doing something with that land that had been here for a couple of years.
That you already bought, right?
Yeah.
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 What was the key that you actually started a foundation? Because okay, you can just go and open it up, but then to really function, like you said, without your help, without your constant feeding it, how does it work?
For us, the first thing, if you're a company and you sell stuff, then as long as you are good at making what you sell, or you know, the service you provide, then people are gonna hire you, right? Yeah. In our case, people have to give us money with nothing in return. So the passion, people need to see passion, people need to see in your eyes that you are gonna use the money for the thing that you're telling them, because they really give it away, right? And it's easy to scam people.
Yeah.
So it takes a long time before people are comfortable enough to give you any money. So yeah, that is one of the main things, like getting the confidence from people to, you know, that you are gonna use your money wisely, and that they're not gonna, if we would have started out like the 2 guys that needed 20,000 euros in a bag, if somebody gave us that money the very first day and we would have gone here, we would have spent the money not on ourselves, right? Trying to make it work, but we would probably not have succeeded. That money would have gone to waste, and we would have been back in the Netherlands maybe asking for another bag of money to try again with what we had learned.
Yeah.
So nobody's gonna give you that money when we were 19 years old, we thought people would, but they don't, and they have good reason for it. So yeah, and then that combined with people that offer their help with mainly like services or provide tasks that you could never do yourself because you don't have the experience to do it. And what we do here involves a lot of different specialists or a lot of different people together to make it work. So yeah, we had to inspire people to put in effort, time, energy, without getting any money for it. And then we had to find other people that were willing to give us money so that we could do what we wanted to do. Yeah, that I think that was key.
Okay. So basically you're the front face of the organization, you, Hanneke and Matthias, and then there's like a whole army of people that work in Netherlands and help you like with setting up the page, actually taking the students, doing all the research, helping you with collecting money, fundings, things like that.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
A lot of people. There's so in the Netherlands they don't really deal with the students. Matthias makes sure that if people want to come here, they contact us, and Matthias does that. In the Netherlands there's a board, so Hanneke, Matthias and myself were not in the board of the Dutch Foundation anymore. And there's a board of 5 people, so they decide what the Costa Rican Foundation does. Then there is an advisory board of another 4 people. In the board it's mainly people in their 30s and 40s, so like young people like us. And then in the advisory board there's experienced people in their 60s, 70s that have, someone that worked at a bank, someone that works like in the green sector, like how companies can change into a more sustainable way of dealing with things. We've had people like lawyers in there, people with very specific knowledge and a lot of experience. They are there to guide the boards. They cannot take decisions for the board, but they advise the board, and obviously the board is inclined to listen to them because of their experience. And then there's volunteers, like 20, 30 volunteers that some of them help us out when we are on a fair twice a year. Others help us out weekly doing financial administration or working on the website or reacting to messages or emails that the foundation receives, a lot of different things. So they are all there doing their stuff. Their main focus is to get funding to this project. And this project is run out of a Costa Rican foundation because we didn't want a Dutch foundation to own, to slowly buy more and more land in Costa Rica, right? And also, since everything we've accomplished is now in this Costa Rican foundation, so the land, the buildings, the car, the workers are paid by this foundation, all of that. The idea is obviously that hopefully in some future Costa Rican people can also take over the management of the Costa Rican Foundation and then build on what we have built, set up. Okay.
But you two, you and Matthias created the first organization in the Netherlands and then the second one in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And now it's being basically run by a lot of people, like you said, in the board and things like that. But they're like employees, right, for the organization?
No, everyone in the Netherlands Works without getting any salary.
Okay, so just volunteers.
Yeah, but it also means that they don't do it full time.
Yeah, of course.
Right? They have their paying job, and they have families and kids, and they do what they do, and then they give time to the foundation.
So they're like passionate for preserving nature, doing reforestation, things like that.
Yeah.
That's why that's their passion
Exactly.
and drive. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you have any regrets after like doing that, or any things that you would change differently?
No. Well, regrets would mean I would never do things the same way, right? I made a mistake and I regret it, right? That I don't feel. There's plenty of things that are hard doing what we do, but in the end it's definitely worth it. So I don't feel like I chose this path and now I find myself here and I would rather get out, but I'm stuck.
Okay.
I don't feel like that at all. There's definitely a lot of things we could have done differently, but it's just a lot of experience that we have gained or gathered by doing things the way we did.
Of course.
And in the end we got out of it smarter and more knowledgeable. And it would have been pure luck setting this up the same way without making any mistakes. So much luck that it's impossible.
I think you could spend 100 years just making theory of things and not doing anything, but then you learn, you fail, you learn again, you fail, you learn, and then you make it happen.
Yeah.
And that's what you did, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
So cool.
Definitely.
But what is the hard part? You said that there's definitely some hard parts.
There's hard parts about living here. It looks like paradise, and it sort of is paradise, but it's also hard. So for example, people here are really nice, but in this culture of friendship is something different than what I'm used to in a friendship. And it mainly means that here it's not normal to really talk about your feelings a lot. So you can, with your friends, you make jokes, you help each other out doing things like pull a car out of a ditch, or help build a house, or help, physical, practical stuff. But you never really get to talk to people about meaningful things or have a conversation like the one we have now. I never have those conversations here with anyone.
Okay.
So that I miss, together with so meaningful conversation, but also getting close to people,
So they have like a little wall put up.
Yeah,
Okay.
but they are completely fine with it. It's not something they miss. Right?
Because they don't know that they're missing that part. They never experienced it, probably, right?
No.
Huh, interesting.
At least this is a farmer's village where we live. Maybe it's different in bigger cities. I don't know, but so that's something hard, and then that makes you miss your family more, because with your family and with your friends you have a relationship like that. And then the other like hard part about living here is so rules are different. Rules in general. A rule is a different word here than it is in Europe, and it's a good thing and it's a bad thing at the same time.
Okay.
So it's nice if rules are not that strict, then you get a lot of freedom in your own life.
Yeah.
Right? And that's in everything. So 2 nights ago we were getting drunk with policemen,
Okay.
like in their uniform, right, at 2 o'clock at night. You know, they have their guns with them and everything, and then we get drunk in the bar. So that's not strange here.
That would never happen in Europe.
No.
Well,
no.
if it would, there would just not be a policeman next morning.
Yeah, exactly. And here we could call the police, you know, the police in the office, but nobody would come and do something about it.
Okay.
But it's also small stuff, like if we make an appointment and we set a time, then that time is very flexible. So everything is flexible here. So that gives you freedom, because you can take this flexibility and turn it into your advantage, but at the same time there's stuff you really need to get done, important stuff. For example, if there's a robbery and you want the police to come and help you out, then you want them to come,
Yeah.
right? And then they might not come. So and sometimes that's frustrating, very frustrating. More so because we receive European people here with a Western mentality,
Yeah.
and they expect things to go by the rules. But we live in a country here where things don't really go by the rules. There are some rules, but they're more like guidelines of sort of where to go, right?
Yeah.
So it's like having 10 lanes on a highway just for you, instead of having just the one lane and you just go directly to where
Yeah,
you need to
yeah.
go. You can, you know.
Everybody has their own rule in their head.
Exactly. And you can also park on this highway, right?
Yeah.
And just take it easy, take a nap or do a picnic before you continue. So you could do wheelies, you know. So which is nice, because in the Netherlands you don't get to do that. Here you do. But and then here people expect things to go the way they were planned, and they can never go that way, and I have to be in the middle also a little bit. Obviously there's tons of really nice things about being here, that's why I don't regret anything, but those are a couple of the things that I will never get fully accustomed to. They're gonna be bothering me for as long as I stay here, I'm sure about it.
And what about like the dangerous animals? Because yeah, the first time I came here, we got, I think the third night, we found the snakes, like really poisonous ones, and I was like, okay, I'm not used to it, you know?
Yeah.
Because in Slovenia everything is safe. Well, the car can run you over, but that's it. Like, how did you get accustomed to that, especially with the kids?
Well, that's easier, because nobody is to blame for it.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just the way it is. It's like the heat, it's like the heavy rains, it's like trees falling down, that's electricity going out, water that doesn't work, electronic things that just die all the time. They're all things here that's just the way it is. They're easier to accept. And of course, when we came here, Abel was 3 years old and Lucas was 9 months, so our kids were very tiny. And they were not used to any of this either, so they would, in the Netherlands, you run into the bushes whenever you want, right? And here you can't. And we did not know really what to expect, so I had spent a lot of time here, and Hanneke had spent quite some time in the tropics. But it's different when you live somewhere.
Exactly, yeah.
And we didn't know what to expect, so obviously you're careful in the beginning. And yeah, it's something you just have to accept. There's a couple of strict rules that we also maintain for visitors here, and also with the kids. And after a while they becomes part of their normal acting, so they don't, they just adapt. And it's always in the back of your head. At the same time, sometimes I think like the chances of one of our kids dying from a snake bite here are probably similar to them being hit by a car if we would still live in the Netherlands, where you open your door, there's a trottoir.
The streets, the main street, or
like for
pedestrians to walk.
Pedestrians,
Okay,
there's
sidewalk.
the sidewalk. Thank you, like 2 meters, and there are the cars going 50 kilometers an hour. So I know kids from the small village, 2 kids actually, in the small village where I lived for a while in my youth, that died because of car accidents, and I don't know of any kid here that died from a snake bite. So maybe it's safer here. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. But I understand what you mean. Yeah. What are the good parts? Why would you like? This is it.
It is beautiful. You have to like nature.
Yeah.
Because at least where we are, this specific part of Costa Rica, nature is all there pretty much is. That makes this a special place.
Yeah.
People are really nice, right? Maybe they don't talk about their feelings, but they are very nice and helpful. And it's probably because we live in a village, but there's sort of a togetherness here, so you help people out sort of automatically, and they help us out as well. And what I really like about the nature here is, in the Netherlands, nature is beautiful. I love it. At some point you do sort of get it. You've seen it all, and then it's still nice to see deer in the morning with the morning sun, right? It's still very pretty, but you've seen it several times before. And here, even after 8 years, maybe not daily anymore, but every week I see things that I have never seen before, or never.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, ridiculous. We still see snakes that we have never ever seen before, and then suddenly they're here. We've been spending all this time here. There's also a lot of animals that I have still not seen once, and I know that they are here. So it's exciting. And then the work here is nice because we get to work with a lot of different people, all the time. And they give us what we miss socially, right? So they give us real conversation, and they show us that they can be vulnerable or sad or insecure or whatever. And they make us able to share those feelings, have fun, explore together. And it's really nice to see how completely different people that don't know each other find each other here. They are pretty much stuck together in tiny little rooms where they sleep with 4 together. And then they build intense friendships in a very short period of time. And of course it gives a lot of satisfaction, and it makes you feel proud if you see the reserve growing. And you see, like, Gerald the guide, when we met him, he's still timid, but he was extremely timid. He spoke maybe 10 words of English. Now he speaks English fluently. He speaks Dutch now.
I heard,
he is proud about him liking nature, because he was always like the weird one in the village, right? And now over years and years, he has met a lot of people that feel just like him, so he feels acknowledged in how he looks at the world. And then there's all the other employees and people that are happy with us being here for
Mm-hmm.
different reasons. Yeah, so there's a lot of things to be very happy about.
So basically, besides helping the nature, straightforward, like doing the reserve and protecting nature and doing reforestation, you also helped the community and the community here grow. You employed people, which is also like a big part here, because other people have to maybe work on the plantations, which is really unhealthy, very hard work, probably not paid well.
Yeah.
So you're actually contributing a lot on
Yeah.
that part.
Yeah, and we slowly try and make people more aware of the nature around them, because it's just not in their first line of sight.
Yeah.
And yeah, people benefit in many different ways. We take the kids from the local school here out a couple of days a year. They're really excited about it, and they really, it motivates them in some way. So I had a meeting a couple of days ago, and so the grown-ups were there waiting for the meeting, but there was also a mom with the kids, like a, I don't know, 8-year-old. And the kid said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "We have a reunion, we're getting together for a meeting." And are you gonna talk about animals? He asked. No, we're not gonna talk about animals, but you wanna tell me something about animals? And then he started, telling, and he was excited.
So cool.
Yeah, really nice. So just those little interactions make you feel like, yeah, this kid, he also knows he can, there's other people interested in nature, and yeah, so it's so many different levels that we can help out. And then we help with the football, playing the football, and do garbage cleanup. We provided the water source to the community, so everybody has their drinking water. So yeah, we can do a lot here with a pretty small project. It's also a small town, but it works together very well.
Yeah. Amazing. And you get the students and the volunteers as well, right, to help. But did you imagine that before you started the organization, that you want to do something like that? Or was it like part of the process that you maybe thought about it?
It was actually from the very start. It was the thing that we wanted to do differently than the projects that Matthias and I visited all those years back. Because they usually worked with volunteers, which means you need a job to be done. You don't have money to pay local workers to do it. So as long as it's a job that would be interesting for foreign people to do, then they will pay to do that work. So we decided that in order to protect the nature that, within the boundaries of the reserve, in order to do that properly, we need to get a good understanding of that nature. And since there's nobody really doing any research here in a pretty big area or radius, and of course Matthias as the forest engineer, and then Hanneke and myself as biologists, studying nature and investigates is, what we were trained to do. And then Hanneke and I also, when we were living in the Netherlands, both of us worked in education. So it was sort of a natural thing to include internships from students here as a way of showing the beauty of nature here to foreigners, but also doing it in a very meaningful way through investigations and studies. And then on top of that, we receive volunteers. Most of the year there's not a lot of volunteers, maybe 10-15% at the moment. It's been like almost 50 for quite some months now, which is nice. because there's this interaction between, people that don't know about nature but like nature, and then people that are so in love with it that they want to study about it and then work with it all their lives. So that interaction is cool, and everybody learns something from the other visitors that are here.
I saw the combination. It's perfect because the biologists really know a lot and they just want to show it to everybody, and then there's people, volunteers, that really love nature and they just like absorb the knowledge and they're really enjoying it. So it was really nice to see.
But for example, for you, you do the coaching now, you're training to become a coach, so here you offer people coaching sessions.
Yeah.
Something that we are not offering them, they don't offer amongst themselves, and then you are here and now they benefit from you.
Yeah, everybody contributes some part.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Yeah.
And I also learned a lot. Like I was just asking all of the questions and it was really fun. So I'm happy that there's so much knowledge in the group. What did I want to say? Would you say that you're happy now?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
I've pretty much always been happy, but I'm also very happy here. I am sure that if we would have stayed in the Netherlands, that I would also have been happy at this moment.
Okay.
I think.
So it's just the way you see the world and things that are happening to you?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Being here obviously makes me very happy now that everything is sort of like worked out. If we stop putting effort into it, it will crash immediately, right?
Yeah.
But it's, everything is here now. There's employees that are happy about their work and we can pay them. There's people that want to come here. They enjoy being here. We have a place to accommodate them. Our kids are getting decent education. We are, okay with the place we have and where we live. So it's all sort of in place now, and and that gives a sense of accomplishment. That is also important, right? To feel worthwhile sometimes. But I never left the Netherlands because I was not happy there. I was always happy there. I just thought I would be even happier here, and I think I succeeded. Of course, you never know. But
so I don't want to put the words in your mouth, but like, would you say that the dreams came true for you? The ones that you had for the work?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But I don't feel like it's done, however. Okay. And I never feel like it's done. There's always this pressure of, you have to continue. Like I said, if you stop, everything crashes.
Yeah.
But also, if you reach a goal, you want to reach another goal.
Of course, but that's normal in life.
Yeah, I think so.
I think life would be boring if we wouldn't have any goals. If you like reach one at 30 and they're like, what now?
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool that you just keep on going. I have 2 questions more, but I don't want to forget. What makes you happy even in Netherlands? Because like some people dream of going, traveling, doing some crazy stuff, that they will be happy when they achieve that. But at least for me, usually when I was dreaming of something really big and I achieved it, it was like, yay! But then if you're not happy with yourself, you're not gonna be happy even when you reach it. So what was that thingy for you that is making you happy? Sorry for going
no,
deep, but like I love that.
I think I don't know what that is. Because it's not something I actively achieve. I don't, there's not a trick I have to feel that way. Sorry.
No problem. There's no right or wrong answer, so it's fine.
I do think one thing that makes me maybe a little bit happier than a lot of people I know is that I feel like I can be, I don't know what the English word for it is. It's like to be satisfied, not really. So the things I need to achieve to feel okay, I can completely be happy while reaching very ordinary goals, for example. And I have plenty of ambition, but my ambition is about obtainable goals also.
Okay.
So I'm not expecting myself to be someone extraordinary. And I can be completely fine with being very average with everything, and I can be very happy that way. And I feel in the Netherlands that people set goals for themselves that are, it's good to have something to work towards, but those goals are maybe sometimes too difficult to achieve, or you would have to give up so many other things to be able to reach those goals that the balance is off. So although I feel like I've accomplished something nice here, I don't think my ambitions are crazy high, or at least if I have ambitions, they come from the deepest of my being, and not because I think it's something I have to achieve because I just have to, right? But it comes from within. I don't know if that makes sense. But
it was a philosophical question, but I think what I understood was having a normal goals that you can actually achieve, and you don't have to like work 50 years to get there, and then you will feel happy. But it's like small little steps and being happy with what you have. That I maybe...
Yes, and what I don't recognize in myself, but I see people doing often is look at other people, see what they do, be jealous of it, and then try to achieve the goals that the other person has achieved, because then it will make you equally happy or something. So for example, I would never say to someone, do what I did here because I'm really happy, because this was what I wanted to do, right? And it cost me a lot of efforts and time and many years to get here, but it could only work for me, for Matthias, but not for other people. And I would love to speak Portuguese, but I can be very comfortable and say, like, you know what, I don't have to speak Portuguese. I don't have to be famous, I don't have to be good at football, I don't there's a lot of things I don't need to achieve, and I would be equally happy, because I would like to be able to do all those things really well, but you can never be good at everything. And I think, at least in the Netherlands, a lot of people maybe aim a little bit too high, and it just makes them sad. I think that's why a lot of people are sad, because they cannot get where they want to go, and you know, it's a little kid trying to open up a pack of, you know, cookies, and can do it, and then he just throws it away. You know? I see people struggle like that, people that are here now also, and the only way to learn is to, you know, change your expectations about your life and
interesting point of view. I'll think about it. What are your next goals, or like things that you still want to achieve?
Like short term or long term?
You can do both if you...
Short term, it's mainly keep things running the way they are, because things are good now.
Yep.
But it requires a lot of input
Mm-hmm.
to keep it going financially, and also, new people come, so they need
Yeah,
help.
of course.
Kids are going to the same school for the next years, so keep things going, and which is sometimes hard enough. And then, well, the foundation has plenty of ambitions. The biggest goal, so here we go to goals and ambitions again, is to keep it manageable. So last year, no, 2023
Yeah.
was actually the year we were doing so good, especially in the Netherlands, that we got funding for a whole bunch of different projects. And we were excited to be able to execute those projects. But then we figured out, like, how are we ever gonna really execute it?
Yeah,
We have all this money now, we can do all this stuff, but when? Who? Because what we were doing for already, 5 years, that was still continuing. It was just on top of.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a pretty shitty year because we were asking too much from, Anneke and myself. We could not deal with the amount of work and inputs and output we had to deliver. So last year we tried to calm down, settle down, don't do extra stuff, try to maintain what we had set up, and we pretty much achieved that, but it was still, we were over asking. And so this year the idea is to keep things going. And then, so if we look at the goals for the foundation, there's many, but now we really realize they all require a bigger organization.
Yeah.
And we are still figuring out if we are willing to make the organization here bigger, and if we can do that with local people, or that we need to get more foreigners involved. So for example, Sandra is here now. That was like a sort of an accident that we started this new project last year.
Yeah.
We were not supposed to do it. We told ourselves we would not do it, but now we're doing it.
Reforestation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then together with the university and do an experimental setup and a whole thing. We were also not supposed to buy the last property we bought, but
It just happened.
it just happened. We got a chance, we got excited. Maybe we would have never had that chance again. So sometimes you're forced to play, right? Yeah, and then goal wise for the foundation, that's something that we have to decide this year. For the next 5 to 10 years, do we want to grow, be bigger, do more, or do we maybe want to stay the way we are now, which is nice, it's impactful for a lot of different reasons, for the community, for nature, for the visitors, for the people donating in the Netherlands, and do it like this, but just be a little bit better at it every year and improve the structures, improve our guidance to the students, improve the way we communicate what we do to people in other countries. Yeah, so
Okay. But like the problem was because you were growing with fundings, but you weren't growing with person, like with people power.
Yeah.
I would say, okay. Well, yeah.
and we got money to hire someone to do that work,
Yeah.
but then that person still needs to learn
And
how
you have
to
to
do
teach him,
exactly.
which takes time, energy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand.
And that person's gonna make mistakes
Mhm.
that then somebody else has to fix, that we have to fix, and just brings a whole lot of extra workloads.
But actually, you're still a young organization. Like, you're only here for 7 years, so I think you still, in my opinion, as I see it, you still have time to decide if you want to grow or not.
That's true. Yeah, it's just to have a clear idea amongst everyone
Yeah,
what the next steps will be.
yeah. Of course, you have to, like, how do you say, work together, because you're not just you and Hanika and Matthias.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. Do you maybe have any, how do you say, suggestions or words that you would like to say to somebody that wants to do something, even if it's like small or big, whatever, and they're afraid of doing it or afraid of trying, like a dream or a goal that they have to want to achieve?
Life is hard. That's rule number one. And especially if you dream about doing something, it's gonna take time, it's gonna take effort, and you're gonna fail, and you have to get going, and people might stop believing in you because you are not reaching the goals as quickly as you thought. And so we've experienced all of this for many years. In the first years, nobody really believed that we could achieve something, and then you also lose faith yourself every once in a while, right? Because you're not getting there. But if you know that you are trying to reach something beautiful and you enjoy putting in the work, then there's no problem. And but definitely the excitement of working on this dream should at some point start to outweigh the input and effort you have to put in, right? Otherwise, well, you get miserable and you get sad. And then you should also be able to be honest to yourself and at some point say, maybe you have to do something else. We never did that, but during all those years in the Netherlands, so like the first 4 years, 3 years, I think the first year, so we were working, right, and putting in time. I think we got 10,000 euros together, right, which is nice, but it's also nothing.
In 3 years?
No, in the first year.
Okay, yeah.
And then the second year, I think, was 20,000. And the third year was 40,000. So we could see that it was getting better and better. And every time we had foundation day, we had a really nice day. It was giving us energy.
Yeah.
Putting in the energy was giving us energy. At the end of the day, I was, very tired, but also very excited. So it was worth it, not only for something that was gonna happen many years later, but also at the time it was nice. And then that people think like, they're fooling around and they're having fun. That's something you very easily have to shake off.
Yeah.
Because you will always have that feeling, whatever you do, wherever you go,
Probably,
there's people like, So, yeah.
I'm happy that it worked out and that you were enjoying while making it work. Because I think, otherwise you would just waste 7 years if you were like miserable for 7 years and then you achieve something, you're like, meh.
Yeah.
So, happy for that.
Yeah.
We both love nature, so my last question would be, how do you see this project and this work that you put into saving, like protecting nature basically, and putting nature back to its place? How do you see it working out, or for the future of it? I'm asking because when I was studying, it all sounds so like sad, or like, you know what I mean? Like they're always telling you, oh, this is going to hell. This is like they're cutting down the forests, the global warming. So I was kind of being depressed all the time when I was listening. So I just want to see how you maybe see it.
Well, I am very pessimistic about nature conservation in general. You know, and we get plenty of people here that say like, no, but men can change, right? And well, there's a couple of places in the world where, yes, like in the Netherlands and a lot of Western European countries, they are making an effort. But it's not enough, and it's not a lot of people that make that effort. And people are not willing to make sacrifices big enough to really change things around. Yeah. So I'm very pessimistic. I definitely do not think that what I do here like makes any difference on a large scale, right? This is small scale things that we do. We protect 300 hectares, which is a small forest. We affect, say, 200 people here in the village, and maybe another 70 people that visit us, and we make like 1,000 or 2,000 people feel better each year for doing a donation to us. So it's all changes, and it's small changes, and I'm very aware of it. I do think this is, you know, you have to have, do you call it a long breath, or have patience?
Yeah, okay.
And but I truly think that so if we do this 10 years or 20 years, from all the people that have visited us in that time, you know, some of them at least, they're gonna make a different choice at an important time in their lives. I started doing this because I went to projects similar to this. It made me wanna start this. If those projects had not existed, I would not have ended up here, pretty much.
It's a ripple effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then if at least 2 people do what we do now, or start doing what we do now, you know, that would be great. If a couple of people here, and we already see that happening, a couple of people here in the village change their mind a little bit about hunting, logging, use of pesticides, all those things, then it's also gonna make a difference. So our reserve by itself is important because there's plenty of animals and plants that live there, and they live there because of the foundation, and it is important. But I think the real what we win with all of this work is not in those 300 hectares, but in everything outside of those 300 hectares, and how that is affected a little bit by what we do with those 300 hectares, right? Get the school kids there, get visitors there. It's our little forest where we learn people how to change their entire lives a little bit, and that's the bigger change maybe. And but in the end it will go to shit by global warming.
You never know. Maybe it changes completely. We will see.
Yeah, we'll see.
If that was the pessimistic version, I like it, because you can see the changes even if it's pessimistic. So thank you for that. Yeah. Any last words that you would like to say that we maybe didn't touch on, that you would like to
There's so much more going on. I could talk for another 24 hours, you know.
My battery will die.
No, obviously I help more people take nature into their lives, you know, incorporate conservation in any way into their daily lives, and you don't have to give up the place where you live for something to do it. You could stay right where you are and go out and enjoy the beauty around you. It's always there.
Yeah.
It's in a lot of small things, and yeah, maybe that's
Perfect, thank you. I'm very happy to see it in your eyes that you're passionate about this, that you are happy, and that you can make an impact like that. Even if it's like just 3 of you, that I know that you're making a lot of effort. I know that maybe you don't see it like that, but for me it was a life changer to come here. And I was talking with the other people, and my friends from Netherlands, they're still talking about it, and it's been 2.5 years, and they made me happy about it. And I was thinking like maybe I should start an organization. So I don't think that you realize how big of an impact you have, and I think that's the beauty of it. You will never know, but you are making an impact. So I'm happy for that. I'm happy for you, and that you have your wife and kids, that you will, like, Abel was teaching me about animals when we were driving, and he was telling me about the nests, how the birds make nests, and what materials they use. And I was like, I could feel it in his voice. He was passionate about it, so it made me feel happy. And yeah, I'm happy that you have this made up for yourself. Like,
oh, thank you. That's very kind.
so thank you for joining me, and thank you for the cool conversation. And yeah, we will see how it goes in the future.
Okay, and good luck with the podcast.
It's going on, so I'm doing something right.
Very cool.
Cool. Thank you. Bye bye.
Ciao.